Good afternoon and welcome to Body Talk. And on this episode, we're going to talk about vaping and the safety of it and dangers and problems you can get into with vaping. Because I think initially everybody thought it was like the safe answer to smoking. But we may be discovering it's not all roses.
That's correct. It's not all cracked up to what it
So I have
is made now.
Marlene Childers here, the school nurse here at the University of Rio Grande. So what do we know about vaping?
Let's
So this is a relatively new thing.
It is, and so it's been in the news past few months. Let me just give you some statistics from CDC website, and this was just recently updated last week, okay? But as of October the 15th, 1,479 lung injury cases were associated with the use of e-cigarettes.
Okay. Is there a difference between like lung injury and disease?
At this point, they're just pretty much calling it injury. The lung disease would be like COPD.
So is an injury something you can recover from? I just wonder why they chose that word.
I know, which I would think that they're calling it an injury because they're not really sure yet about
Treatments and different things.
Treatment and also the seriousness of the effects that are causing lung issues. Because there have been 33 reported deaths in 24 states.
Okay.
And this was as of last week. Okay.
And this is, from what I understand, the deaths are more from not like over-the-counter type of vaping products, but things that are off the street.
Bootlegging, yeah.
Right, THC. And
correct, yes. And so...
but the injury part includes all of them.
Correct.
Not just those off the street things.
I think the deaths that are reported here is, from suggests that perhaps THC was one of the sources in these deaths.
Right. And not that maybe THC was the cause of the death, but something that they diluted or cut it with
or something out on the street. Correct.
Right.
That's
as far as I know, THC won't kill you.
No. But there's something about taking the oil into the lungs. And so as I was reading this, we'll get to that here in a minute.
Because in smoking, when you're burning it, that's smoke, and when you vape, it's more oil.
Yes, you take in.
It has little particles of oil. That's what the smoky-looking thing is, right?
That's correct, and that causes. Yes, that's correct. And so, the latest national and state findings suggest that products containing THC, particularly those found on the street, not in your marijuana dispensaries, that they play a major role in these deaths. So that's what they have found. Now, among the 1,358 individuals, let me just give you some data about where it is in amidst the males and females and age groups. 70% were males. The median age is 23 years, but the ages range from 13 to 75. So that's a wide spread there. 79% were under the age of 35.
That's understandable.
15% under the age of 18. And then it goes on, the highest percentage was 25% at 25 to 34 years of age. And so
most people
of them were
late 20s.
correct, early 18
30s.
to early 20s. And then, like I said, the 25% was the highest at 25 to 34 years. So the CDC is just recommending that you not use an e-cigarette for vaping products that contain THC, especially that drug that is on the street,
Right.
You should not modify in any way your e-cigarette. And also, you should never allow e-cigarettes to be used by youth, any young children, young adults, or women who are pregnant.
One of the things that scares me about those things is I think most of them are made in China, and the batteries may not be the best things in the world, and they can flame up.
Yes, I was reading about that.
You can have it in your pocket, and then
yeah,
your pocket explodes into fire.
The lithium batteries that catch on fire, and so that has caused a lot of injuries. Now, so here's the scoop on this. If you are vaping and you're concerned about, if you're going to become ill from vaping, let me just tell you what symptoms you may see, and you should, see a provider if these come up very suddenly.
See your doctor.
And you're vaping, yeah. So those include a chronic cough. Okay, now you get that with cigarettes, vaping. I know I've tried vaping before. I took, I inhaled, and it literally made me cough. Just the mere vaping. I just tried it.
Is that the part that's called popcorn lung or not?
Possibly. I mean, I've heard of that.
I think that's whenever you listen to it, there's a popping.
A pop, yes. But it made me cough, and I didn't like that, so I didn't do it. Chest pain, shortness of breath, nausea, or diarrhea due to vape juices that are filled with chemicals, fever and fatigue. So if you have any of those symptoms, mostly commonly a shortness of breath. So then you should seek medical treatment. Stop vaping, Now, they do say that vaping, if you're a cigarette smoker and you've quit cigarettes and you've turned to vaping, then you don't go back to cigarettes. You stay, the CDC says do not start using e-cigarettes or vaping if you currently are using
tobacco products.
Not using tobacco products, right. Adults who do not currently use tobacco products should not start using e-cigarettes. Okay? But if you have started using e-cigarettes to stop smoking, do not go back to cigarettes. You continue vaping. Now that's what it says here, to get off of cigarettes.
So do they think smoking is not
is
more dangerous than vaping?
Absolutely. There's more chemicals, yes. Yeah, they do. They want you to put the cigarettes down because they're really, really bad. And not that this vaping is any better, but in some instance, if you're not bootlegging, or getting things off the street, then it actually is better than cigarettes.
Well, they smell better.
Yeah, for sure.
I never liked the smell of cigarettes.
No. So, but that's what they're saying here. I mean, there is no safe tobacco product. All tobacco products, including e-cigarettes, carry a risk.
So do you know, okay, you go to your doctor and you say, I've got shortness of breath and a cough and some of these other things. What's the treatment? Is it any different than, say, like a bronchitis, or
Well,
do they just say, well, don't do that anymore?
well,
You know?
and if you're going there and the question your provider or your primary care doctor or an urgent care doctor should ask, do you vape or do you smoke? Now, that's a common question. A lot of times when a new patient comes into urgent care or something, we ask them about their smoking history or so forth.
And it's easy, whenever I've got some heart issues, and it's easier when you get older that, you go to walk up a hill and you get to the top of the hill and it's like, man,
Yeah.
I am out of shape.
Yeah.
But after I
real-
had gotten a stent, I could just go right up the hill and go, that wasn't a big deal. But it's easy, what I'm saying, it's easy to blame it on being older, out of shape, or whatever. So be careful about blaming it on something else.
Yes.
You might want to go get checked out.
Yeah, because if that's something new and you've not had it before and you are vaping, then you definitely
But
need
both
to,
heart stuff and vaping or whatever illnesses
right.
aren't necessarily come on
Abruptly.
suddenly.
No,
'cause it takes a
works
while
out.
for
That's right.
your arteries to get clogged. It takes a while for your lungs to get clogged up.
Yes.
So,
So it's not going to be an abrupt notice.
if you're hanging out with your friends and you're the last one at the bottom of the hill trying to,
Yeah.
wait a minute,
Yeah. Then there's
might
a
wanna
problem.
go get checked
Yeah,
out.
there's a problem there.
unless you've gained like 100 pounds.
Yeah. But anyway, there's many different names for e-cigarettes, I'm
And-
sure.
And what I've seen on the news is they come in all
Oh, my
sorts of
goodness.
styles. They don't look like just a
No, a vape.
vape or a cigarette.
Right.
Like the blue ones or whatever.
Right.
They're disguised
Yes.
as other things.
Yes, like USB sticks and pens and, some.
Camelbacks, the
Yes.
water thing goes into
Yes, I couldn't believe
backpack.
that. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
Is that a sign of desperation?
I would think that's when
I
you
need
go into
my
a
fix.
concert with your backpack and you vape.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean the backpacks and all kind of strange things, everyday items.
Mm-hmm.
So they're used to deliver marijuana and other drugs. I mean that's.
I wonder if
that's
it's
a lot.
It probably doesn't smell like marijuana whenever you're
Not
vaping
with the
THC.
juice. I would think not.
Right.
Because you're getting oils there with the.
Because somebody's going to notice that.
Right. Yeah. But here's what happens. So e-cigarettes produce this aerosol by heating the liquid up that they sell on the market. The liquid usually contains nicotine in different milligrams.
The legal ones do.
Yes, the legal, yes. And other flavorings. And so when you heat this liquid, that's what makes the aerosol. And users inhale this aerosol in their lungs. And also just being a bystander, you get that as well. And so that's what you're taking in is
I guess that works differently than, I've seen people on lung drugs. They use an atomizer.
Yeah.
That's different.
Yes. But, there's many different names for e-cigarettes, hookahs, vape pens, vapes.
Well, a hookah's different. A hookah's one of those things you set on the table, and then you've got a thing that, like charcoal, that burns the stuff and actually makes smoke, and the smoke goes through the water and through a little pipe, so it cools it off.
So you're not taking in the
Well,
That-
and the only thing I would worry about with hookahs is, again, what's in the little cake or whatever it is that you burn.
Where the
You know,
charcoal is.
it's probably supposed to be tobacco, but it's flavored. And what's it flavored with? What kind of oils and stuff? What happens to that when you burn it? And the thing with a hookah is that the smoke is so cool that you don't notice it, as much as you would like a cigarette.
So, do they use those very often? Because I've
Not a lot of
honestly-
people do, because it's a big thing. It's not something you're going to put in your pocket. But you put it in the middle of your table and everybody sits around. And
So, does it have hoses coming out of it?
Yeah.
Okay,
there's different ones with different numbers.
I see.
So
Okay.
I wouldn't call it a e-cigarette, because E would say electronic, but a hookah is still burning of something. You're ingesting the
Well,
smoke.
they've got here e-hookahs.
E-hookah,
Yeah,
okay.
e-hookahs.
Didn't know that existed.
Uh-huh. Mods, vape pens, vapes, tank systems, and ENDS. ENDS, which
Electronic nicotine delivery system.
is, yeah. So, that's what
Guess
it's
it's better
about.
than shooting up, but
Well, anything's better than that, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah, for sure.
you can get a lot of other things with that.
So what are health effects of using e-cigarettes? They're still fairly new, and so they really don't know much about that.
Right. We don't know what the long-term effects
Right.
since, how long have they been used? Like 10, 15 years?
Scientists are still learning about probably about 10 years, 12 maybe.
To me, it seems fairly recent. But time
The
goes by
it
when
goes
you go.
fast, yeah. So I'd say, close to perhaps 12 to 15. But most e-cigarettes contain nicotine. And we all know the health effects of nicotine. It's highly addictive and it's toxic to developing fetuses. Nicotine can harm adolescent brain development, which continues into the early to mid-20s. So,
The same thing with THC and
That's
marijuana.
right.
They say don't.
yeah,
If you're going to smoke it, don't do it when you're young. Wait till you're formed.
yeah. 'Cause
25
brain
years old, maybe
development,
later.
Yeah, it interferes, and these are, precise studies. I mean, this is it.
We're not saying you should do any of that stuff, but
No,
it's just
we
worse
never.
if you do it younger.
Younger, correct. But how often do we start smoking at a young age? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because of peer
Everybody
pressure.
wants to be cool.
Yeah. And so a lot of individuals start smoking at a very young age.
I never was attracted to it, so I never started. I did other stuff to be cool.
You joined the Army,
Or
didn't you?
I just made a thing of not being cool.
Yeah, and that's okay too. So, besides nicotine, e-cigarettes, aerosol can contain substances that harm the body, and this includes the cancer-causing agents and tiny particles that reach deep into your lungs when you're inhaling. And so, they tend to just kind of generally contain fewer harmful chemicals than what burned tobacco does. So,
And I've got that same concern about other things. There used to be a thing, which I'm not sure if it's illegal, K2. If you remember K2.
That was
There's
a bad.
kratom, and then there was
Yes.
these are all
No, that
things you
was
could
back
get at,
about-
like, I don't know if you call them head shops or,
Yes. Bath salts and
right. There
Stuff
are
like
other
that.
things that are on the borderline legal. They're legal, but, just like I was saying about the little things that you smoke through a hookah, what else is in that? If you were just getting the THC, that's one thing. But, what else do they put with that? You don't know, it's probably an unregulated manufacturing process.
Sure.
So what are you ingesting? And that's what I worry about, of a whole host of different things.
Yeah, there's, of course, and let me add,
And like the CBD oils, you know.
well,
CBD, I don't have a problem with,
right,
but what else is in it?
right. And, they say even they don't really extract all the THC out of there, that sometimes there is a small residual of it left.
Okay,
And
which
then
one is that?
and then you get drug tested, and then
Right.
you got THC in.
But I never smoked marijuana.
Right. And so, you just, you don't know.
I've heard that too about, like poppy seeds or
Yeah,
some other type of stuff
morphine,
you
yeah.
put on breads and things that,
Poppy seed, a derivative of morphine. Yeah.
that you can come up bad on a test because you ate the wrong
Yeah.
kind of bread.
That's right. Yeah, I've heard that for sure. But anyway, so, this is a serious public health issue. And it's going to...
You haven't seen any numbers on how many people are smoking versus vaping.
No,
If
I didn't.
if it's overtaken,
I didn't.
or if it's still lesser than the smokers.
I didn't see any of that. But it seems
Because
like...
I always kind of wondered if all the scare about vaping is coming from the tobacco companies because they're losing users.
You wonder about that. Yeah, they're not liking it,
Right.
They're not. They're losing money.
And you can usually boil a lot of things down to number one, money.
Yeah.
That's why people do things. There's a
Yeah.
couple other things, not going to really mention, but money is the big one.
Yep, that's right. In the United States, youth are more likely to vape than adults. So it's our youth that, is...
Well, they're living forever anyway, right?
Right, they think. Yeah.
They don't see an end.
No.
And
Well, and they don't think things will happen to them, you
right,
know.
that's the other guy. And
Right.
that's the thing where I say, the first 40 years of your life, you do whatever. You're just eating whatever you want, doing whatever
Yep.
you want.
Yep.
No big deal. I don't see any ill effects. And then from 40
It
to
just
whatever,
creeps
you're
up.
just trying to stay alive.
Yeah, it just creeps up on you. All your 40 years of doing bad or
Right.
whatever.
So you got to take care of yourself
You
from the
do.
beginning
From the
and get
starting out. Yes.
rest and exercise.
Yes.
That's been my downfall,
And
is the
keeping
exercise
yourself
part.
healthy. Well, it's boring.
Well,
I don't like
all of my jobs
exercising.
have been sedentary, sitting behind a desk pretty much.
Well, I like to be active, but I gotta have like music or somebody to talk to while I'm exercising.
Right. You don't want to be on a treadmill looking at the wall.
No, hate that. So, but what, we got about 5 more minutes.
Yep, 4 minutes.
Okay, so let's just talk about here what the CDC is doing about
Okay,
vaping,
good.
okay? So right now it's working 24/7 to identify the cause of, this recent outbreak of deaths. They are committed to identifying this risk and the risk factors involved. They're going to detect and track probable cases on a continuum across the United States, and communicate to local audiences, state and clinical personnel. And we're going to work closely with the FDA and investigating, continued health alerts and surveillance as far as the vaping issues go. So it's weekly reports right now from the CDC.
And as far as like wherever you go, if it says no smoking, it also means no vaping also.
Correct, and that's a good point
Because a lot of our signs say no tobacco use, like, it's not tobacco.
Right. But we are a smoke-free campus. That means that no vaping, no cigarette smoking on campus, on the grounds.
Snuff.
Correct. So
Chewing
no
tobacco.
use of tobacco products, period, or vaping. So, I think most generally, all college campuses across the United States have probably succumbed to that. It's not a good thing. I mean, this is a scary situation for young people because they're very attracted to it.
It smells good. I've been around some people.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's better than smelling that old nasty cigarette smoke, isn't it?
Yeah, the old cigars that are in the ashtrays, it
Yep.
smells 100 times better than that.
Yes, for sure. So, they're going to be working diligently on trying to find a cause, and that may take some time. But they do know that it's somehow related to a THC component there.
Maybe they can regulate another thing so you can't put in certain things.
Yeah, I'd say that's what it's going to come to. It's going to be under some FDA regulations probably.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
but anyway, just try to not buy anything off the street. If you are out there vaping, use good sound common sense and don't go out on the street and get any oils or anything that can harm you, because you don't know what you're getting. You don't even know what you're getting when you buy marijuana. That could be laced with anything, so
Fentanyl or whatever.
absolutely. So you've got to be safe, so just
Take care of yourself. And
that's right, and try to kick these bad habits that you are maybe possibly developing and going to have a tough time getting off of them. So,
right.
You're young. If you're watching this and you're a college student, it's best just to try and get off this stuff before there are repercussions. So, when you get our age, right?
Right. Spend the last half of your life just trying to stay alive.
That's right.
Well, thanks for watching,
Thank
and
you.
we'll see you next time on Body Talk.